Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We're going to be right back with today's guest, but as always, we're going to give a shout out to my sponsors. Now, these are companies, they're all great companies. I used them as an athletic director. They're time savers, they're money makers. You should have them on your team. So take 3 minutes, listen to our shout outs, then listen to our interview, and then go and visit these sponsors, particularly if you're not already using them. Here we go. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. You can schedule a live web demo to see their products in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made as an AD was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Schedule that live web demo today. We also want to say thank you to Huddle. You know, as a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school. And our coaches, all of our coaches, just love the Huddle platform. Our student athletes love the videos. Our parents love the streaming, but there's a whole lot more. Go to huddle.com, join the 100 million users and fans, and turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to say thanks to Vital Signs Wall of Fame and Beacon Creative. Now, Wall of Fame has been helping schools bring their legacy to life for over a decade, but Beacon Creative takes it to a whole new level. Beacon is a content creation service, and they're going to take your stories, your history, your students, your coaches, and come up with compelling narratives that you can then post on your social media sites, maybe even a Wall of Fame board. I want you to reach out to John Townsend, and you can do that by emailing John, John, at beaconwalloffame.com. Beacon Creative and Vital Signs Wall of Fame. It's a winning team that you should be on. Let's also say thanks to Home Campus. Scheduling, rosters, results, communication, facilities. Home Campus does all of this and more. Does it better, does it faster than the other platforms. Did I mention athletic eligibility and clearance? That one alone is a game changer. Go to homecampus.com, and with all our sponsors, please make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Educational AD Podcast. We also want to say thanks to Gipper. Gipper is the modern marketing platform that makes it easy for you to turn your athletic websites into a Division I, into a pro-looking model without spending extra time or adding staff. Gipper is used and trusted by over 20,000 high school and college athletic programs. It's professional graphic design made easy. And it's easy because you've got thousands of professionally designed templates to choose from that you can then brand in your colors, your logos, you name it. Create, share, and schedule all your social media content on one simple platform, and that platform is Gipper. Go to Gipper.com to get started. We also want to say thanks to Booster Hub, the #1 booster club software program. Sponsorship payments, meal fees, concession sales, everything flows through their secure system. Volunteer signups, volunteer changes, you know it's going to happen. Everything stays secure, nothing falls through the cracks, and your community stays engaged. Give your boosters the platform they need. Give them the platform they deserve. Go to boosterhub.com for more information. Let's say thanks to Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Now, I didn't get my master's through the Ohio program, but guess what? My assistant athletic director did, along with thousands of others. And while they were earning their degrees, they also completed 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. And finally, we want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys. You know, if you're not using a survey to take the pulse of your student athletes, your coaches, how about your parents? You're really missing out on a great source of information. Go to Athletic Surveys. They're going to create a custom survey just for you that is going to connect you with all of your stakeholders. And having all of that feedback, most of it positive, again, tremendous resource. That's athleticsurveys.com. And don't forget to tell them you heard about it on the Educational AD Podcast. That's athleticsurveys.com. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We're going north just a little bit to the great state of South Carolina. and we're going to be visiting with Jim Maciejewski. He is a certified master athletic administrator. He's the director of athletics at Mauldin High School. That's in Mauldin, South Carolina. Tremendous background in athletics. We're going to hear about all of that and more. Jim Maciejewski, welcome to the Educational AD Podcast.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Well, it's a busy time for athletic directors. Spring season seems like you've got more sports and more challenges than any other season. We're recording this, I just didn't even realize, on April 15th, Tax Day. So it's going to be very timely as you listen to it. Hopefully all you ADs have got those big six-figure salary tax returns made out and returned. Jim, we always like to let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So give us your quick bio. Where were you born? Where'd you grow up? We're going to take this up through your college days and then take a break. But what's the Coach Mach origin story?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in Buffalo, New York. Went to Lancaster High School, played three sports, football, basketball, baseball. Fell in love with coaching and the idea of becoming an athletic director from our head football coach, Len Jankowitz, who was our head football coach. Like I said, our AD. He also taught math. I don't know how he did all that all at one time. He was a rock star, but got the itch to think about coaching and athletic administration. Had the opportunity to then play 2 years of college baseball at Monroe Community College for Skip Bailey, and did that for 2 years and was very fortunate to come down here to South Carolina and play for Matt Fincher at USC Upstate. So I got to play for him for 2 years and coach there for a year as well. So the background is in college baseball, and being with those guys at the high school level and the college level, they're the ones that guided me into wanting to become a coach.
Boy, it's a lot of parallels there. I still remember, junior high and high school, small town but big school, and our PE teachers, our coaches, they're just, great guys, mentors, role models, et cetera. And I'm just thinking, wow, I wonder if I could ever do this. It seems like a cool job.
Right.
Let's go back to those, middle school days, maybe even before middle school. Growing up, I always like to ask the question, was it a lot of backyard football, driveway basketball? Were you playing ice hockey in the winter on the streets? I mean, what are some memories of those times?
It was all of it. Being from Buffalo, you took advantage of the seasons, and being a Bills town and in a Sabres town, in the fall we were playing football. In the winter we were, playing street hockey. We had a pond in our backyard that some of the neighborhood dads would clear off for us when it was safe, and they'd resurface it, and we'd play backyard pond hockey. Weather changed, and we were playing baseball and football again in the spring. So it was very seasonal, up there, and those were some memorable times for sure.
Yeah, boy, my neighbor here in Florida is a Buffalo guy. He's always flying his Sabres flag proudly. You guys are having a great season. And he flies his
thank
Bills
goodness.
flag. Yeah, his Bills flag in the fall, too.
It's awesome.
Growing up, as you were getting into organized sports, you mentioned three sports. And again, I'm a lot older than you are, but you're not a kid. Did you ever have a coach say, Jim, you shouldn't be playing, whatever, football, you should play baseball year round? Or was there ever a conversation like that when you were growing up?
No, that wasn't a thing up there back in the, I guess, mid to late 90s, right? Like it just wasn't a thing. More so it was trying to figure out how we could go from 7-on-7, in the evening, and then drive downtown to Gloria Parks to play a summer league basketball game, and how to coordinate football workouts with playing Legion baseball and doing all those types of things. So there was the only really expectation was if you were an offensive lineman, you were expected to wrestle for Coach Beck. Thank goodness I wasn't a lineman, because I'm not a wrestler. So other than that, it was, everybody worked together, and I didn't realize how small of a school we really were up there until I came down here, and our school and some of the other schools around us with, 3,000-4,000 kids, we had to play everything. We didn't have enough bodies. So, the football, we just transitioned right into basketball and then right into baseball.
Yeah. No, I was having flashbacks there for a minute. Our football coach was also the wrestling coach, and we'd finish basketball practice down the gym. We had a balcony that was kind of closed off where the wrestlers were, and we could hear things, but we never wanted to go up there. We didn't want to see what was going on.
Right.
As you got into high school, it sounds like baseball was your big thing, but any memories of games or just sports memories that really stick out for you that still you can think of them right now as an AD years later?
Yeah, for sure. You know, football being one of them. The first game my senior year, we were picked to finish last in our region. We weren't supposed to be any good. We were playing North Tonawanda, who had these big, college studs on offense, and we beat them. So that was a really cool moment. Uh, Got to play at Rich Stadium, former Rich Stadium, where the Bills played my senior year against Lockport. We won the Section 6 championship, and as corny as it sounds, we used to have season tickets for the Bills. I think I missed two home games from the time I was 5 until I was 18, and the Phil Collins song always came on in the air tonight when the guys were warming up on the field, and I just thought that was the most awesome thing. Well, we're coming out of the tunnel for pregame, and all of a sudden Phil Collins is playing in the air tonight. And I looked at my buddy next to me, Mark Chavez. I said, "Dude, this is the coolest thing ever. Like, this is amazing." And it was an amazing experience to be able to play on that field in that stadium one time. But probably the most memorable was that game for sure.
Oh wow, that is so cool! I love that. Thanks for sharing that story. All right, you mentioned college baseball. As you were, and I want to hear about that experience, but also as you were playing, were you thinking, down the road, hey, I might be a coach or something, or were you just, enjoying the moment and playing ball?
For the most part, I was just there because I was excited to have an opportunity. We talked a little bit about the differences of today and back then of coaches. You're only doing this, or you're only doing that. I didn't think I had the ability to play college baseball until the end of my sophomore year when I started getting some interest. So it never really even occurred to me. So I was appreciative that a school wanted me to be there and play for them. But I always wanted to be a teacher. I want to be a social studies teacher and coach football. But once I got to college to play baseball, I just really fell in love with the process and the practice organization. It was totally different than what I was accustomed to growing up playing baseball in the North. And like I said, Coach Bailey and Coach Fincher were super influential in making me think, I think I'd like to do this as a career. So for the most part, I was just there playing, trying my hardest, trying to get in the lineup. But, again, once I got to upstate and got to be around Coach Fincher, like I just fell in love with the game. He's the reason why I'm sitting here right now. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We look back on our careers, those people that impacted us, and maybe didn't even know to what degree they were
Right.
having that impact. Very cool. Thanks for sharing that stuff.
Absolutely.
Let's go and take our first break. Once again, our guest today is Jim. I want to say this right, Massa Maciejewski. Okay, I'll work on that during the break. From Mauldin High School, Mauldin, South Carolina. Let's take that break. We're coming back with more. This is the Educational AD Podcast. Hey, we want to say thanks to our good friends at Sideline Interactive Indoor Score Tables and Video Boards. You've heard me say before, probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive Indoor Score Table. We use it for home games, of course, but we also use it for pep rallies, for signing ceremonies. Their products are tremendously versatile and their customer service, just outstanding. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Tell them you heard about it on the podcast, and they'll give you a nice discount. That's sidelineinteractive.com. We also want to say thanks to our friends at Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school. And our coaches, I'm telling you, all of our coaches just love the Huddle platform. Our student athletes love the videos, our parents love the streaming, but there's a whole lot more. Go to huddle.com, join the 100 million users, and find out how to turn your school into a huddle school. That's huddle.com. Welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast. Jim, you were sharing during the break that you had a cool story. Could you share that with our listeners?
Yeah, for sure. End of my junior year at USC Upstate, uh, I was homesick. I was 800 miles from home. Wasn't playing much. Got hurt and wanted to go to a school that was a little bit closer to home and maybe provide a more of an opportunity to play. And during our exit meetings, I walked into Coach Fincher's office and sat down and said, Coach, I think I want to transfer. I want to go back closer to home. Kind of explained it all, and him being him, with his feet up on the desk, kind of sat forward and said, "Let me get this straight. You want to be a baseball coach one day?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "And you want to go back up close to Buffalo?" I said, "Yes, sir." He goes, "Well, let me tell you what's going to happen." He goes, "If you go back up to Buffalo, you're going to be throwing snowballs for the rest of your life, and you will never be as good of a baseball coach as you can be." He goes, "So what are we going to do?" And I looked at him and I said, "Well, I guess I'm staying." And that was it. Like, that was my exit meeting. And I was I was probably barely an average player, right? I was not impactful baseball wise, but I'm forever grateful for him. He didn't have to keep me around, right? It would have been so easy for him to say, "Yeah, man, I think that's the best thing for you is to transfer and go somewhere else." And he brings in a better player. But if it weren't for him, convincing me that my best chance to do what I wanted to do in life was to stay at USC Upstate, I would have never, got my first coaching job and met my wife and had my kids and like the whole thing. So it's just a great example of, regardless of how somebody is impacting a team with wins and losses and performance, how important it is to possibly look beyond that, and you can make an impact for a lifetime by seeing some things that people don't see in themselves.
Oh wow, absolutely, boy! Thanks for sharing that. That's incredible, and you're absolutely
Absolutely.
right. I think I mentioned this earlier. At the time, sometimes you just don't realize, the impact that a coach, a mentor, is going to have on us while it's
Right.
happening.
Right.
Let's go and follow that line of thought. This second segment, we want to have you share a little bit about your career journey that's brought you to your current job as the AD for Mauldin. Um, as you were wrapping up that college career, were you thinking about playing career? Were you thinking about staying on as a college GA? Were you looking to get into the public school system? What were your thoughts at that time?
Yeah, at the time it was kind of a good scenario, bad scenario. I'd lost an entire year transferring from Monroe to USC Upstate as far as credits. So I had one more year of school left, and Coach Fincher was gracious enough to keep me on as a student assistant coach. So I was going to class in the morning time, and then coaching baseball and doing all those kinds of things in the as a regular assistant would. Coaching first base, throwing batting practice, doing the whole thing, coaching catchers. So that was an invaluable experience before I got into to high school baseball, and was fortunate to have the opportunity to have a elementary school PE job open at Arcadia Elementary School. And there was, at the same time, coincidentally, a guy that I was doing my student teaching with was on that staff and knew there was going to be an opening, and you know uh, put my name in with Coach Waddle, and we met. And I had my car packed to drive back up to Buffalo after graduation, and got the opportunity to stay and coach at one of the top 5A schools in South Carolina. Beautiful school, beautiful facilities, um, unbelievable man in Coach Waddle. So I spent 4 years there as an assistant. And then at 26, I got the head job here at Mauldin, and was the head baseball coach here for 15 years. And this is year 16 here at Mauldin. I'm not coaching baseball any longer, but 6 years ago decided I wanted to try my luck at being an AD and take what we do as far as the character development and intangible characteristics of student athletes, and see what we could do with that, from the entire athletic department standpoint. So, um, you know, again, 16 total years here at Mauldin, 15 as the head baseball coach, and 6 total as the athletic director.
Again, I always love to hear the journeys. As you were taking on new leadership roles, going from, assistant coach to head coach and, 15 years there at Mauldin, was the athletic director position, in the back of your mind? Did it just kind of fall into your lap? How did you make that decision to, as I like to say, go to the other side of the desk?
Um, Once I got to Malden and as a head coach, you obviously have a little bit closer relationship with the athletic director. And it intrigued me, just I don't know, I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to this, but I like the organizational piece of it. I like the scheduling, I like the creating things like that. So, seeing how those things were done, it piqued my interest of, maybe I can do this one day. And I actually had to apply for the job twice. And finally got it on the second try, and you know, fortunate for the opportunity to do it.
You know, now that you've been, the AD, can you look back at some of the stops on your journey? We're big, and of course, we're going to talk about the toolbox later on. But can you look at any tools from those early days that you're still using today in your administrative role as the AD?
I would have to say from uh, playing for Coach Fincher, it's doing things the right way. It's having passion for what you're doing. It's continuously learning about what you're doing. From Coach Waddle at Dorman, it's about details. It's about being organized. And shoot, from doing the job, you're always thinking and tweaking and changing, and you might do something a certain way this year, but you're thinking of, okay, how can I make this better for next year? So, it's one of those things that's ever evolving. But the passion and the organizational pieces I definitely took from Coach Fincher and Coach Waddle.
Oh no, absolutely. I'm excited to hear the rest of your tools when we do the AD Toolbox segment. Let's go and take our second break, but we are coming back with more. Once again, our guest today is Jim Maciejewski. He is the Director of Athletics at Mauldin High School. He's also a certified Master Athletic Administrator. Let's take that break, but we're coming back with more. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Vital Signs Wall of Fame and Beacon Creative. Now, Wall of Fame has been helping schools bring their legacy to life for over a decade, but Beacon Creative has taken it to a whole new level. Beacon is a content creation service, and they're going to take your stories, your history for your coaches, your kids, your program, and come up with compelling narratives that you can then post on your social media site, maybe even on a Vital Signs video board. I want you to reach out to John Townsend, and you can email him at John, John, at beaconwalloffame.com. Beacon Creative and Vital Signs Wall of Fame. It's a winning team that you should be a part of. Let's also say thanks to Home Campus. Scheduling, rosters, results, communication, facilities. Home Campus does all of these things and more, and it does it better and faster than the other platforms. Did I mention athletic clearance and eligibility? That one alone is a game changer. I want you to go to homecampus.com. Tell them you heard about it on the podcast. They'll give you a nice discount. That's homecampus.com. And we want to say thanks to Gipper. Gipper is the modern marketing platform that makes it easy for you to make your athletic department website look like it's Division I. Make it look like it's pro without spending extra time or adding additional staff. Gipper is used and trusted by over 20,000 high school and college athletic programs. It's professional graphic design made easy. It's easy because Gipper has thousands of professionally designed templates to promote your program in your colors, in your logos, in your brand. Create, share, and schedule all of your social media content on one simple platform, and that platform is Gipper. Go to Gipper.com for more information. And as always, make sure you mention the Educational AD Podcast.
Yeah, Gipper's an outstanding product. I don't know if I could you know, function without it as far as the communication pieces of it with game day guides and our social media and newsletters and uh, camp information. It's an outstanding product.
Oh, gosh, thanks so much for saying that. I'm always curious. What kind of feedback do you get from your stakeholders? I guess the parents. I know the kids love to see their posts there, but do you ever get some positive feedback from the parents about your presence on social media with Gipper?
I think we're at a point now where the feedback tends to be a little bit negative when either the posts aren't up when they're supposed to be up, or hey, how come this hasn't been, and things like that. But no, that means they're paying attention and they're following and they enjoy what they're seeing. So I can take that criticism every day because
Oh,
they like it. They're proud of it.
I know, the freshman B tennis team didn't have anything on social media. What's going on? You don't like
Right.
my kids' team. Oh yeah, no, those are the great ones. And you always have those photos in your file so they can post them right away.
Correct.
All
Yes,
right,
sir.
thanks for sharing that. All right, this segment, it's all things Mauldin High School. Talk about the size, the scope, the community. Talk about some things that you're really proud of. Why you think Mauldin is the best.
Yeah, we are a kind of a transient community about an hour and a half south of Charlotte. We are 2.5 hours from Atlanta, about 3 hours from the beach. It's an amazing community. A couple of things that stick out in my mind. We're the ninth largest school in South Carolina. The last time we did realignment, approximately, depending the last couple of years, 2,300 kids, grades 9 through 12. Um, Uniquely, our colors are orange and brown, which I absolutely love. Um, Similarly to the Cleveland Browns. So I feel like we take a lot of pride in that and in wearing our brown. But no, some of the things I'm extremely proud of within our athletic department. Last 6 years, our athletic department GPA average is 4.25. We have outstanding student athletes here that not only are high quality, high performing athletes, but they take care of business in the classroom as well. Something just happened recently yesterday. We had 24 student athletes sign in our spring signing day, which is the largest we've had in a number of years. So seeing those 24 kids and their parents and across the spectrum of baseball, boys volleyball, our first girls flag football signee, go to Newberry, track athletes, soccer athletes. It was an amazing couple hours to be able to recognize them. Um, Another thing that I think separates us a little bit is our student athlete leadership cabinet, where we have 30 to 35 student athletes that meet once a month, and we talk about influence and leadership and character development, overcoming adversity. We just finished a book study on grit by Angela Duckworth. So it's something I'm extremely proud of that we've been able to start over the last several years. And then, going back to Gipper, I feel like our social media presence is first class. I take a lot of pride in making sure our schedules are out there. We're highlighting athletes. We're doing some unique things, that other schools may not be doing. And if we see a good idea from somebody else, we'll borrow it and try to make it our own. But you know, along with the social media, I've become kind of slack about it. But we have a podcast called Mav Chatter, which I thought was an insanely good idea until it was time to schedule them and make sure we're all, have the time to do it. And then, you're doing the podcast and you're editing the podcast and you're doing all these types of things where there's just not enough hours in the day. But I think we've done 15 episodes over the last year and a half, 2 years. And I need to make sure I keep making that a priority because it's something fun that I enjoy doing.
Boy, a couple things. Let's go podcast first. I'm sure that you've got an eager coach, assistant coach somewhere that has the time to do that, but he's got to schedule, your segment as part of that. So now you're just recording the segment. They're doing all the grunt work, if you will.
Right.
And
Right.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Or you got a couple of students. Okay, let
Yeah.
those students take that on with oversight, of course. All right, here's an easier question. Very good friend of mine was a head football coach in California and had those Cleveland Browns colors. And he said, and this was 15 years ago, he said it was always a struggle to find a vendor that could match, the color that they wanted. Do you experience that at all with your teams, or is that a thing of the past?
I feel like it's a thing of the past. It's been pretty easy the last, I don't know, I'm 10 years, I guess, to find things that match what we got going on. And again, done right, it's sharp. Like I really like it. Our football team has some uniforms that are just first class. Basketball, our soccer teams have unbelievable color schemes, like super, super sharp. And again, if you don't pay attention and have the attitude of, it's fine. Like it can get pretty gross pretty quick. But our coaches do a really good job of making sure, our branding guidelines are followed and they're super sharp.
Now, again, I've skimmed your website. Your logo is fantastic. In fact, I can see it right now during the podcast over your shoulder. Is it Cleveland Browns or is it University of Texas Longhorns orange?
So that above, I guess, what would be my left shoulder. I couldn't even tell you where that came from. Somebody, it was used as a decoration for some event or something somebody made and gave it to me. But no, it is Cleveland Browns. It is straight orange and brown. And, we had a baseball uniform way back in the day that I inherited that was a brown. The picture of this was a brown sleeveless top that like the kids had to wear an orange t-shirt underneath. Like we had to do it. They didn't want to wear anything else. And we called them our Hardee's uniforms. And they embraced it. But no, we use a silhouette of our logo that's a little bit different than Texas. I'm not
Right.
trying to get
No, it's
sued.
definitely different.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's definitely different. There's an AD here in Florida. He actually got a letter from a college, and he had brushed out the little R registered or copyright, whatever it was,
Yeah.
on the logo. It was some kind of bird, and they said, "I'm sorry, but this is a registered logo." And so they ended
Right.
up rebranding, and it was great. But he shares that story at our state conference. Speaking of Sharon, we're going to do this at the end of the podcast, but I want to do it now. If one of our listeners wanted to reach out, pick your brain a little bit, find out more about how you do things at Mauldin, or just add you to their network, how do our listeners get a hold of Jim Maciejewski?
Yeah. I'm on Twitter probably more than any grown man should. At Maciejewski_24. My email's on our website, mauldinathletics.com under staff directory. I'd be more than willing to provide my cell phone number, right? Like, but the email, reaching out, DM on Twitter are probably the two easiest.
Again, our cell phones locally, they're out there. People know they're going to call us, but I don't
Right.
know if we need to make that nationwide. We'll put that Twitter handle and everything else on the show notes, but we are
Awesome.
going to come back with some more. We're going to take a break. I know that's shocking for our regular listeners, but we are going to come back more with Jim Maciejewski, the athletic director at Mauldin High School, Mauldin, South Carolina. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We also want to say thanks to Booster Hub, the #1 booster club software program. Things like sponsorship payments, meal fees, concession sales, everything goes through their secure platform. How about volunteer signups? How about volunteer changes? They're going to happen. Everything stays on point. Nothing falls through the cracks, and your boosters stay engaged. Give your Booster Club members the platform they need. Give them the platform they deserve. Go to boosterhub.com. We also want to say thanks to Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Now, I didn't get my master's through the Ohio program, but guess what? My assistant athletic director did, along with thousands of others, and it was a great experience. And while they were earning their degree, they also completed 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Let's also say thanks to Hometown. Hometown is your trusted partner in things like growing school revenue, fundraising. How about digital ticketing, communication with your staff, with your community? They've got the tools that are going to bring your community together. And whether you're a principal, whether you're an athletic director, whether you're an AD, those things that we just talked about, fundraising, website construction, and a whole lot more, Hometown's going to show you how to save time, how to raise more money, and again, how to bring your entire community together. Go to hometown.com for more information. That's hometown.com. And as always, tell them you heard about it on the Educational AD Podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast. Now, Jim, we've mentioned a couple times you're a CMAA. That doesn't happen by accident. Can you share with our listeners your journey with your state association in South Carolina, as well as with the NIAAA?
Sure. So as a new AD in our county, we're required to get our CAA within the first 2 years of being an AD. So, taking those first several classes to get the CAA, through our athletic director, our district AD, Daryl Nance, figuring out how to do the job and the nuts and bolts of it and things like that. I enjoyed and going to the conference every March in Charleston is something, we enjoy doing. There's some great speakers from around our state. I was fortunate enough to speak at the conference a couple times about some different topics. And this last March, we had the opportunity to have Dustin Smith from Broken Arrow, who was there with us, and he was unbelievable. And listening to the different perspectives of people who do the same job as you do, and picking their brain and getting some different ideas to bring back to your school is something I enjoy. And not this school year, but last school year, as a district, we completed the NIAAA QPA. So that was 10 months of chaos and pain at times, it seemed. But it was worth it to dig deep into your athletic department and, check some boxes and figure out what you're doing well, the things you need to improve on. And, we were able to parlay that QPA into achieving our CMAA. So it's something I'm excited to continue to be a part of. I've applied to be part of hopefully some committees within the NIAAA and trying to get more involved with our state association. So it's something I enjoy.
So again, I want to emphasize for the listeners, Jim earned and very much earned his CMAA by completing the quality program process for his school. If you go through the QPA program, whether in their cohort or do it on your own, as you come out, your school not only earns that quality program award, but you as an athletic director have earned the Certified Master Athletic Administrator as well. So congratulations.
Thank you.
How was the QPA received, let's say, by your admin, your school, your coaches? I know there's a lot of investment in going through the program to complete the various modules, but when it was done and you guys had been given the QPA or you had earned the QPA, what was it like from your admin?
It was kind of difficult to, I guess, get them to understand like why we did it, I guess, and the things that we went through and what kind of what it meant for our athletic department. I don't I don't know, it was, they're, we got to, when I told them we were going to Tampa to get the award and, be recognized, then it was, that realization of, oh, this was kind of a big deal. Kind of the same thing with our coaches, like, oh, like, this is what you had to do. It's like, yeah, that's kind of explained it. That's why I was asking you guys some questions and, how do you do this? What do you know, the nuts and bolts of some of the things. But, I'm after going through it and sitting back, looking back at those 10 months, like I'm very appreciative we had the opportunity to do it, although at the time it was difficult. But like I said, it was a reflective, I guess, exercise over a length of time that you know, hey, we're doing this really, really well, but we got to tighten up some things, maybe in some of these different areas. So it was good.
Oh no, the just the self-evaluation process that
Right.
you go through by
Right.
default as you're collecting that data to submit. Okay. Well, again, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Getting your CMAA alone is that puts you in like the top 4% of all athletic directors nationwide. I think the QPA might even be a smaller group than that. So well done.
Thank you.
Um, Looking back at again those initial courses, those 500 courses or some of the electives, what are some of your memories of those courses? I almost always say that as you take that first course, it's either wow, this is really cool stuff, I got to take it back to my school, or oh no, we're not doing any of this stuff. I really have to take this back to my school. And a lot of times it's both. Which one do you remember most?
It was more so, man, that's a good idea. Like we kind of do that. So we can take what we already do, take these ideas and tweak it a little bit. The most memorable one was how the law class like scared me. It was frightening. Going through some of those cases and examples of case law, it that kind of puts things into perspective a little bit. But no, I'm a guy of I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to improve. I'm trying to grow, not only for me, but for our athletic department. I'm constantly trying to share things with our coaches that they can look at a different perspective to help them and their programs grow. So, um, you know, I, I enjoyed all of them. I can't, it was so long ago. I don't remember specific, class titles or things like that, but, I'll take whatever I can find from anywhere, essentially that will help me and help our athletes and our coaches be better.
Now, you mentioned earlier that you signed up to serve on committees and things like that. Are you able to do that with your state association there in South Carolina?
Yeah, I've reached out. More so the opportunity um, to speak is what I've done so far. But I'm hoping as those people roll off of their committee assignments, there's some things that open up that I can be a part of.
Um, Again, continued success with Mauldin and with your state and the NIAAA Association. We're going to have to connect this year out in Phoenix when we get out there. But we're not done yet. We always wrap up with a segment called the Athletic Director's Toolbox. Now, you got a QPA. You certainly know your way around the world of high school athletics, but in just a minute, I'm going to challenge you to send out a brand new athletic director on their first job, but I'm only going to let you put 3 tools in the toolbox. So let's take our final break here from Athletic Surveys, who sponsor this segment. When we come back, we're going to find out what Jim Maciejewski puts in his new athletic director toolbox. Please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to thank our good friends at Athletic Surveys for sponsoring the AD Toolbox. In my school, we use surveys for just about everything. For our student athletes, we did surveys for our coaches, we did surveys for our parents. And here's the cool thing, the information that came back, almost always over the top positive. I'm talking 98%. We still got to hear from those squeaky wheel parents, but the surveys allowed us to hear their concerns, usually address their issue before it turned into something big. But going back to that positive data, incredibly valuable, especially when you were visiting with one of those frustrated parents, sometimes even your principal, sometimes even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. That's athleticsurveys.com. And as always, don't forget to mention the Educational AD Podcast. Well, it's that time of the podcast. We've been visiting today with Jim Maciejewski. He's a certified master athletic administrator. He's the director of athletics at Mauldin High School, and that's in Mauldin, South Carolina. Has a tremendous background in athletics, but right now I'm going to challenge him to send out a brand new athletic director on their first job. But I'm only going to let him put 3 tools in the toolbox. So, Jim, what 3 tools are going to go into your new athletic director toolbox?
I think the first one, a new athletic director has to take little bites, meaning, you know, as far as changes, implementation of different programs, can't, change things, upgrade things, whatever it may be, all in that first year. And as someone who made that mistake, I think it's important to understand, the learning piece of it is the most important at the beginning. But again, the saying, you can't, like, to eat an elephant or whatever that saying is, you can eat an elephant in small little bites. I think that's the job of an AD, especially a first year AD, is just, focus on 1 or 2 things that you'd like to implement or change in that first year. And, you can't do it all at one time.
No, absolutely. I agree 100%. And you're right. I made that same mistake at one of my stops too. We got to change this. But I love your expression too. I don't think we've ever had anybody say little bites, but you're absolutely right. Great visual. What's your next tool?
The second one, what I would say is to learn to delegate. Again, someone that daily makes the mistake of not delegating things that don't necessarily I have to do, right. We talked about the social media aspect of it. I absolutely love doing. I enjoy it, but it is super time consuming. Do I have to make all the graphics and post them and do all that stuff? No, I don't have to, but it's one thing that you can take off your plate to focus in another area, or just take a deep breath, you can't do it all yourself. There's people around your school that want to help. They want to be put to work, and it's important to find those people and be comfortable enough, and confident enough that those are the right people that can do the job that you want them to do. So delegation, I think, is huge. And then the third one I would say is find mentorship. Finding seasoned, experienced athletic directors within your area that can provide advice, if nothing more than to vent to. Hey, I'm dealing with this situation. Can you believe this parent sent that email, or this, whatever it may be? It's really, really important. And a lot of times they are currently going through the same thing that you're going through, or they have, and they can provide different perspective, ideas on how to deal with those types of things. Tommy Bell at Teohana, who is 1,000 times the athletic director I am, said all the time his most favorite moments are when we drive to Columbia with 5 ADs in a car and we just talk, and you sit there and you're like, man, I'm not on an island, and that's important to understand. There's not many people that understand in your building what you go through and what you have to handle every single day. So I think, finding those 1 or 2 people around that have done the job for a while, I think is really, really important.
No, again, great, great tools. And your comment, that realization, you're not on an island. That's what those new ADs need to realize, that there are
Right.
mentors, people out there for them to reach out to. Great, great stuff. Jim, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to share with our listeners. One more time, if one of them wanted to reach out and pick your brain a little bit more, what's the best way that they can get a hold of and connect with Jim Maciejewski?
Yeah, my email address is listed on mauldinathletics.com under staff directory. Twitter, social media, at Maciejewski_24. Shoot me a DM. Would be glad to chop it up and provide any help I could.
Well, Jim, all the best moving forward in this spring season. Hope you have a great summer. If you make it down to Florida, particularly Central Florida, let me know. We'll take you and your wife out on the pontoon boat, do a little sunset cruise. And let's definitely plan on connecting in Phoenix for the national conference.
Absolutely, would love to.
For listeners, just a reminder, we upload the Zoom recordings of all of our interviews to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do this just about every day. We try to share stories and best practices from the world of athletics. So please come back and join us again on the next episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time.